Hey guys, this is Heretic from 759 and it's November 13th, 2020. And today I'm going to go over the email that we just received a few hours ago from King of Avalon, titled Development Log Progress of Server Merger. Basically, this is just an update from our previous communication that we received about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And this one is from the development team to just kind of tell us where they're going, and it offers some really interesting information that we didn't have in the first one. It looks like they're still kind of deciding exactly how they're going to do this. So by far the most important thing is, how we in our kingdoms are going to determine where we go. I think before they were saying that it would be a vote of the kingdom or something like that. In the email, they said that first they thought they would just let the king of the kingdom at that time decide. But because we're all doing rotations, that might not actually be the best way to do it. So they came up with something. It looks like this is honestly a little bit better. They're going to take the three most powerful by power, by Lord power. And so those three people will be candidates, and then you'll have three candidates one from each of the top three alliances by power. If there is a duplicate, it'll be like, let's say that candidate one, the strongest player in the kingdom, is also in the strongest alliance, which often happens. It will be the most powerful player, and then in that alliance, it'll be probably the second most powerful player in that alliance will represent that alliance. So that's two candidates. So you have 6 candidates in total, no more, no less. Right? So that's through the number one point. And at that point, there will actually be a vote of everyone in the kingdom. How that works, I don't know. Will that include farms? Right? What if, you have a guy that has 500 farms and they all vote? Does that work? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. Hopefully the votes are by the IP address. Hopefully people aren't sharing accounts. That's illegal. And hopefully that doesn't affect IP addresses. So point number 2. Can individuals stay in the original server, and will the original server be retained after merging servers? No. Our current servers are all going away. So I'm in Kingdom 759. There will be no Kingdom 759, most likely. What's going to happen is there's going to be new servers, fresh servers. They're going to take my Kingdom 759. Once we pick, and we can't just pick any kingdom to go with. There's a lot of rumor and people saying things like that. No, most likely we'll be given choices, right? So like in the previous video, probably we'll be given, let's say 10, I don't know how many, a list of kingdoms that we can choose from. The candidate that's in charge in your kingdom, the delegate, the diplomat, who's going to actually make that choice, will be able to choose from those kingdoms in that list to merge with. The thing that they don't explain is, well, what if the other kingdom that you want to merge with doesn't want to merge with you and they pick someone else? How's that going to work? I don't know. They don't explain it here at all. But the question here is, what if you don't choose anyone? Basically, they'll choose for you, right? All of our kingdoms are going away. We're being combined into new kingdoms. Okay? So that's point number 2. Point number 3, when my kingdom will choose the kingdom, will there be a list of choices? I think we just kind of went over that. Again, just like in the previous video, they're going to choose, and they're going to choose the kingdoms that you can actually join with, and they're going to make sure that the power and the activity of those kingdoms are pretty darn similar to the other kingdoms, so that you don't have, a kingdom with Coco, Adama, Diesel, all these top players all in the same kingdom, which, they would be so powerful that no one would ever be able to compete with them. So they're going to have to come up with a way to kind of balance us all out. Will the alliance remain the same? Basically, yes. Your alliance will transfer to the new kingdom as it is today. If you're some alliance names that are always the same, almost every kingdom has a KOR, has a CHN alliance. So if two kingdoms merge and both of them have KOR, one of them, I'm not sure which, probably the least powerful, will then have a randomized name, and they'll get some kind of a compensation. You know how that goes. 5 hours of speed ups or something. But then you'll have to just rename your alliance, at least the acronym. But everything else will stay the same. So you don't have to worry about, when our kingdoms merge, my alliance is going to be broken up to pieces. It's not going to happen. Another thing that they mention here, which is important, are the relics, and we talked about this in the last video as well. The relics are going away, right? So when you get to the new merger, it's going to be into the new kingdom merged with the other kingdom or kingdoms. So I'm guessing it's going to be more than one. When you get to this new kingdom together, you're starting from scratch. So, just like when you join a new kingdom, there's different ways of getting relics. They say artifacts here, but what they mean is relics. Those relics are going to be on barbarians. They're going to be, on monsters. They're going to come up in the auction house, just like they do on a new kingdom. So we'll all be fighting to get those. Just the same, and they don't really say it too much here, but basically think of it as you just joined a new kingdom from scratch, but you get to keep your current castle, so you don't have to start off at number 1, right, at level 1. So that means, you're going to be fighting towards that first Avalon, to become king. All the history is gone, right? You're fresh. So it's just like starting from scratch, but you get to keep your castle. So isn't that a little bit better? When is the exact time? This is another, awesome thing to hear, is that if everything goes as planned, which in the development world, which I work in, nothing ever goes to plan, they do hope to allow us to at least get to the point where we can choose who we're going to merge with sometime in December. So that's, a month and a half, is what they'd like. Probably, hopefully it's December, maybe January or February before we get there. But it's a lot sooner than I really had anticipated. I'm guessing they're going to, in phase 1, they're going to go through that whole process of delegates. They're going to drag it out a little bit. So we'll be able to we'll have our 6 delegates will be identified, and then we'll start the voting process, as the next phase, and then the last phase is that person becomes the diplomat, as they're calling them, and that person then chooses from that group, and once all that choice is done, then they'll be able to work on the data side of it, right? And then they'll do the testing. So they'll do their internal testing, and then they'll give us the opportunity, maybe, one group of those to go ahead and merge. They'll merge that through, they'll do a backup. They'll make sure that merges through. Everybody merges through correctly. If there's any problems, they'll back us up, right? And hopefully they'll let us all know in advance that this is happening, so that you don't lose any progress after the update. And then once that works, they'll probably slowly start expanding that out to more and more groups until we're all able to do our merges. But it's a really big update, really interesting. I'm glad they're doing this. If they weren't doing this and they just kind of dropped it all on us in a couple months, that would be pretty crummy not to know. It gives you the opportunity now to start working on your power, both your alliance and yourself. It helps you start kind of working together as a kingdom to come up with a way of choosing the actual kingdoms you want to merge with, and working with those people that are kind of up there anyway, that you're sure they'll be part of the candidates. You work together to communicate on how you want it to work as a kingdom, right? So now's your chance to use your strategy and your diplomacy to get what you need as a kingdom to be successful after the merger. Because if you just merge, if you have a bad merge experience, you could get an alliance in the other kingdom that just comes in and destroys all of you, based on nationality, based on whatever. Maybe they're just jerks. Or maybe you merge with a kingdom where, while they're active, they log in once every 30 days, they're not really, really active, so you haven't really gained a lot. So, once we get down to the point where we can actually look at our choices, that'll be really, really interesting. And, I expect a lot of communication across server to get the best group and, all of that. So I hope this helps, and have a great day. Click subscribe.